Good morning, YouTube. This is part 2 of a series of videos on Amazon Comprehend Medical, where I'm trying to reduce some of the headaches associated with setting up and running the service. In this video, I'm going to show you how to schedule and run an analytics job. An analytics job in Comprehend Medical is a task that you can run asynchronously. And for that, you need to upload your data into S3 bucket. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to set up a user account correctly, how to give it the right permissions to run a job, then how to set up your S3 bucket, and how to schedule a job. And then in the next video, I'm going to explain how to process the results from JSON into a tabular format, like a data frame using Python. Let's get started. So I am logged on as a root user in my AWS management console. So you should not run analysis as a root user. Instead, you should create a user that has the right to run these types of analysis. In your root account, you go into services. The thing that you're looking for is identity and access management, also called IAM. So it's under security, identity, and compliance. In here, you go into users, and you're going to add a user. I'm going to call it administrator. You want to have the AWS management console access. You have your password auto-generated, and please do change your password after you've done that. You go in here, and there's 3 options to set permissions for that user. I do have an administrative user group. However, you won't have that. What you can do is go in here and attach existing policies directly, and what you're looking for is administrator access. You don't need any tags at this point. You want to click on review, and you're going to create a user. So it was set a temporary password, and you can download comma-separated file where your username and temporary password are provided, and the link to how to log on into AWS. After you have logged on as your new user, you should go to S3 services and create a bucket for Amazon Comprehend Medical. Let me show you how. If you work with actual patients' data and are subject to privacy laws, you should reach out to your information security department to understand how to use Comprehend Medical in compliance with those laws and regulations. I will show you how I set up kind of the basic parts of the bucket, and you should follow that example but add your procedures on top of that. So to create a bucket, we go into services, and the service that we're looking for is S3. So it's in the storage group of services. We click on S3, and S3 is kind of similar to Dropbox, except it's a lot more powerful. We're going to create a bucket for analysis, and I'm going to call it Test Medical API. The bucket names need to be unique to the server where you created them. So it's not just unique for your own account, it's for all of the accounts on that particular server. And I am going to block public access. I will not have bucket versioning, but you need to check with your information security departments. I'm not going to use tags. I am going to enable encryption, which is a default encryption using the Amazon S3 key. There is an option for using a key management service and external keys with that. There's also advanced options. I'm going to click Create Bucket, and we're going to find out I created successfully, so there is no name like that. So within that bucket, I am going to create a folder I'm going to call it input data. There's server-side encryption. That's in addition to encryption that I already have for that bucket. And then I'm going to create a folder called results. You have to have your input data separate from results so it doesn't loop over when you rerun the analysis. Let me upload the data. So I have these 14 cases that I found on the internet of patients with the description of what they had. The limit for both RX norm and ICD-10 ontology is 10,000 characters. So this is the limit of my files. The entities analysis can be done up to 20,000 characters. So you want to have shorter files, and also you want to delete breaks that are happening within a sentence, like line breaks, because Comprehend is sensitive to those. It considers a line break similar to a period. So I'm going to add all of those to my destination. Not going to choose any additional options. And upload is successful. So we've got our data. We have our folder for the output. Go back to AWS main menu and go to IAM. Now we need to create a role for our Comprehend Medical to access this S3 bucket. So for that, you go into IAM and you click on roles. So in here, we click on create a role, and we need to choose AWS service. Unfortunately, AWS Comprehend Medical isn't on the list, but we can put in Comprehend in here and then use it as a template and modify it. I'm just going to leave it here because we're gonna have to change that. We don't need any tags in here. We're gonna create a Comprehend Medical service role as the name, and we're gonna create it, and we're gonna go in here and do a couple of things. We're going to click on attach policies again, and we're going to create a policy, and we're going to click on JSON, and this is the text that I want you to put in. You can probably choose it manually, but it's just easier to do this. Just highlight and put it in, and I'm not going to use any tags, but you can. I'm going to do the review, Comprehend Medical. Let's do S3 access because it's specific to S3. S3 access policy. So there's the resources are listed here. We're going to create. We're going to go back into this attach policies menu when we clicked on created policies, and if you're here, just do a refresh and say comprehend, and there it is, attach policy. So we fixed the policy. This one we can detach. So we fixed the policy, and now we need to go back in here and fix the trust relationships. And it's fairly easy right here, service comprehend.amazonaws.com. We're just going to add word medical. Make sure the spelling is correct. Update the trust policy. So we should be good to go from this point on. Here we're going back into AWS and go to Amazon Comprehend, launch Amazon Comprehend Medical, and we click on Analysis Jobs. I've tested some jobs in here, so we're going to create a job. I'm going to say, let's try RX norm. RX norm analysis. And here we can choose the analysis type, and there's the three that we've seen in the real-time analysis in my previous video: entities, RX norm, and ICD-10. But there's also a separate API for detecting protected health information. So we're gonna do RX norm in here. We're gonna go into our test medical API bucket. Choose that. We're gonna go into the attach the results folder on it. We can use a separate encryption for the results if you want to. And use an existing IAM role is what we need to use, and this is where we choose our Comprehend Medical service role. And at this point, we pray that it works, because if we choose create a new role, which is how it's supposed to work, there's a little bit of a bug thing happening because it's not creating the role and the whole thing fails. Yay, this worked. Now we wait for 15 to 30 minutes. We come back once the job is completed, and I'm going to show you what the results look like. So our RX norm analysis has completed, and if we click on here, this is general information about this analysis job. And by the way, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up on it. It really helps to get the visibility out. So let's click on the output data and see what's in there. This is our output, and you can see that our file names end in .txt, and this system adds .out for the output. So let's take the same file, case report for the elderly woman with mucous membrane pemphigoid, and we are going to download it. We already have some idea of what the drugs are going to be in here. So, and this is how it outputs the information. It's in a JSON format. So what we have here is the text of the drug. See how many times it appears in here, and the category is medication, and the type is generic name, where it's located, and then we have a thing called attributes. So for drugs we have traits and attributes, and for example this attribute is duration, and the text for it is 10 months. And then we have traits. For this one we don't have any traits, so let's see if I have traits. No, not in this text, we don't have any traits in here. So now there's another variable called RX norm concepts. This is where it links your name to ontology, shows you the score, ranks by the score, and you can choose the standardized name for your medication. So now that you've learned how to run your Comprehend job asynchronously, let me help you with converting that output from JSON format into a table format like comma-separated values or Excel, and I'm going to use Python in that process, and I'm going to convert the output into a data frame, a pandas data frame, and then save it as comma-separated values in Excel. So this is the next video.